Dust off your starter jackets, rip off those tearaways, blow on those game cartridges. I'm Simon Barnett. Blandford.
I'm Pat Sellers, and we wish it was the 90s.
Come one, come all. Welcome to Cringe Factor, 90s edition. This is our second Cringe Factor episode, and the first was, of course, the infamous Barrymore. I'm doing a cover of See You When You Get There and Everybody by Backstreet Boys. So go back through the archives to have a look at that. This one is, well, we're going to discuss how cringy this one is at the end, Pat, and it's up there. We're going to have a link in the description of the YouTube link of this, and of course it is 1996 New Zealand television iconic game show Telebingo. Now, before we get started, just watch 1 minute of it. It's car crash TV at its finest. I dare you to stop watching after 1 minute. It's too bad to turn away. And so before we do anything, click on that link. Watch 1 minute. Watch the bizarre, weird intro. And watch the car crash that is Simon Barnett unfold. Pat, what are your memories of this tour de force of a show?
My memories are mostly that opening line of, "Don't watch that, watch this." When you sent that video out, I immediately went, I remember that, but I don't really remember Telebingo. But I definitely remember that start and that theme. Which was outstanding. But then, after watching the full episode, I was like, I'm pretty sure that my family participated in this, which, features a bit of low-level gambling, which, family would love as well. But just like the last Cringe Factor episode, kind of watched it going, how the fuck are we going to make a podcast out of this? And it's just been like running through my head all day. Same again, I only watched it today, and it's just been running through my head, and just I've got too many questions about this show now. It's doing the same thing for me. So I'm glad we let the dust settle on Barrymore and brought it back for the Simon Barnett.
Yeah, my memories are just basically my gran and granddad's house. When we'd stay there, we'd watch it. Or maybe we had a rugby training at North Park, and they live right over the fence. So I think we'd just go there and watch Telebingo, and they loved Lotto. Just
Yeah, so they are participating.
Yeah, absolutely participating with their red highlighters. Yeah, absolutely. So basically the concept of the show, I'm not going to bore you with it, but it's kind of a game show going on, but at the same time, people at home are filling out a bingo card based on the numbers that come up during the game show. And
they've kind of fused game shows with Lotto type shit.
That's right, David.
Yeah.
So the game show stops after a while, and they say, okay, four corners stops now, and people get money if they've got the four corners on their game card. Then there's an X or a cross, and again, the game stops, and 300 people have an X, and that's worth $300 each. And then actually someone at home, some lucky person, wins $100,000 once they fill out their Telebingo card at home. So the computers were obviously advanced enough to figure out, when people had won and how many people had four corners and cross and stuff. Not a bad little concept.
Actually, great concept. Yeah, I reckon the concept's really good. Yeah, I'd be keen to make a little family night of Telebingo. Introduce the youngsters to gambling. But you can get involved, and it's a game show. So I'm surprised that didn't hold on. I think it finished in 2000.
Yeah, I am also surprised. I think there's absolutely room for a comeback. think I'd be keen to get back into a bit of casual gambling, and my two loves, gambling and quizzes.
Yeah,
And
yeah, there you go. I was just thinking about one of our other podcast genres where we normally do a recast. This might sort of dictate what you say about Simon Barnett later, but I reckon if they revived it, giving the hosting jobs to Simon Blandford might not be a bad shout. I reckon I was getting some real Blandford vibes out of Barnett at times.
Hey, I loved him as a kid. He was just a better looking version of me, so I loved him. Absolutely loved him.
What a talent.
What a talent. Absolutely. Anyway, the contestants. We'll start off with these Now, Simon introduced himself to these contestants. Now, you've already watched this, I'm sure, at home. But it's just an absolute shambles and just bizarre. Dean is the uploader of this video, Dean Soul. His important bit of information that he wants to share with New Zealand is that he wants to have 4 children.
Yeah.
Simon's like, Dean, I hear you want to have 4 kids.
Yeah, it's a really odd start. Did you just say he's the uploader of this video?
Dean, the champion, is the uploader of this video on YouTube.
Oh, wow. So he must have had it on VHS and he's like, oh, this is, I'm going to make my 15 minutes of fame really last and get it on YouTube. That's outstanding. Might have to talk to Mum about her appearance on The Price is Right, see if she's got that and get her to upload it.
Tracy-esque from the Castle experience on The Price is Right.
100%. She would have been sporting a very similar haircut too.
Sharon, we learn, is into taekwondo or kickboxing, or what was her name? What's her name? Sharon?
I don't know. She was hardly on it. She might have answered 2 questions the entire show. She was silent the entire time.
First of all, it was Sharon. I've just consulted my YouTube clip.
It was, yeah.
And she waited 20 show minutes to buzz her buzzer and got the one buzz wrong. Yeah. Just Sharon wasting her time. Poor Sharon, you wait for your 15 minutes and you buzz your buzzer once and you get it wrong and you're labelled a prat, and that's the game.
Whereas our other mate went the exact opposite way. He's on his buzzer constantly. I don't think I've ever seen anyone get that many incorrect answers on any game show since Joey Tribbiani.
He's just maniacally grinning the whole time as well. Like every time he knows he's just jumped in too soon. A big criticism of the game, by the way, is they don't punish them enough for a wrong answer. You gotta punish big time, because him and Dean are just trying to manipulate and monopolize the buzzer.
So this was one question I had about the game.
Yeah.
So if you're marking the numbers at home, you know how like each question there's like a number that comes up, and so you're going to mark it off your little thing at home. Do you only mark them off when they get them right, or is it just regardless?
Nah, regardless.
Okay, because otherwise I was thinking, geez, Dean's saved the show here, because otherwise this show is going to go for 5 hours with Sharon and Michael not getting any of the answers right.
Yeah, Michael saying that a Brumby was a person from Birmingham was a real highlight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was that one. There's 2 absolute rippers. There was that, and then there was what is Scrumpy made from? And if you're not from New Zealand, Scrumpy is a very popular litre plastic bottle of apple cider. What is it made from? His answer was an alcoholic drink.
Poor, and just maniacally grinning the whole time. I love Michael.
Just unbelievable.
Seems like a nice guy.
My comments on Michael, I wrote down, he looked like a specific IT staffer back in Saul Stream at high school who went by the name Keys. He was quite short-lived there. He was sacked after they found some objectionable materials on his computer. But that's where you get in Catholic education.
Don't cast.
But he did remind me a lot of old Keezy.
So the show begins and Simon Barnett comes out, and it's obviously a live show, right? It has to be live.
Broadcast live, but is it a fake audience?
Well, I've got some questions about the audience, but he comes out
Yeah,
to applause. So there's at least 10 to 20 people in the audience.
possibly.
And he talks about, for some reason, the AMP show that he went to in the weekend in Christchurch. It goes for nearly a minute. It's got no relevance to most of the country of New Zealand or the show. There's no reaction at all from the crowd throughout the entirety of the story. Not a laugh, not an "oh," not a gasp. It was boring, pointless, unfunny. Apart from that, it was fantastic. And at one point, he asked the studio audience, he's like, that sound like a lot of fun, guys? There's just 2 seconds of absolute silence, and he goes, "It is."
Yeah, yeah. There was a couple of non-reactions, and I was like, "Are they just like bored watching this, or is there no audience and they've only queued up the claps for certain times?"
I think there is a live audience because they do the odd reaction at a few other random
Okay,
times.
yeah. I have to go for a rewatch after this and try and find them.
At the end of that AMP show story, he says, "There's lots of sheep there, and that's why the Australians love it." And I was like, "Is that like a bestiality joke, or I don't know what he was doing with that. Like, I just have no idea what that AMP story was, what the point of it was." And
He seemed to know a lot about sheep to make that crack as well, so I don't really know where he was going. He was like naming different types of sheep, I think. I don't know.
he was no,
I
he did.
know,
The Romneys.
yeah.
Um,
I only know
and
merino and sheep.
have you got
The other
anything
ones are
else
just
on
sheep.
that intro part? Because I've got a few other things on that intro part. Have you know anything on Ingrid or anything like that?
Just enjoyed Ingrid Mole's entrance. She's got an extremely strong New Zealand
Oh,
accent.
so strong.
She could only be challenged by Jenny Sellers' mum, I think, with a real twang. But she's got the low tone as well. She's a
Yep.
like 100% like exactly what you think of as a 90s New Zealand sort of presenter,
Yep.
especially in tone. She kills it. It's great. But he does shred her straight away for mentioning the fellas up north. They're like, he must make all those cracks all the time, because straight away she goes, "It's not what you think."
Well, and like she inexplicably asks him when he when she comes out, she's like, "How was your weekend?" Simon's like, "We had a great weekend," and then she's like, "Yeah," as if he's telling her like a family member died. Like the reactions just it's like she's not even listening to him. And then they talk about a Michael Jackson concert.
I missed the Michael Jackson comment, but I
I
think I was
went to
still laughing at
Michael Jackson concert, and then she asks Simon Barnett, aka David Brent, if he's able to moonwalk, and he does it.
in that oversized suit.
Yeah, we saw a live moonwalk from Simon Barnett. Probably not anymore. Um, and then just on those introductions, when he leaves the Sharon introduction, when she says she's been in Taekwondo or something, he's just butchering every line. He can't even speak. He walks along and he says, "Oh, nice of you, black belt in macrame." He just makes up
Yeah,
random.
he was really hard to even figure out what he was trying to say. And then he like has like sort of tries to crack jokes that just are just random words put together basically. He's like, "What were you going to do before that?" And she said something about wanting to be a rock and roll dancer, and he's just like, oh, he said something, he had a weird reaction, then laughed, and then moved on to Dino with the big mo.
Rock and roll dancing and karate don't combine those two.
Is that what? Yeah, like, make any sense?
um, and look, Pat, are you gonna tell us about the patella joke? Or you can do the honors of that, surely. Worst joke.
Deepak. Yeah. He's. I can't. Question was obviously something about leg and knee ligaments, and
What name is the patella better known as? Was the question.
yeah. And is also known as the brother to New Zealand cricketer Deepak Patella.
It's
You
a grim
serious?
joke, eh? It's a grim joke. Deepak Patella. And yeah, of course, Michael getting that wrong was fantastic. One Ingrid is at one point like when just on the game show when there's four corners happen. Ingrid Mole, it's her time to shine, so she comes in and explains what the four corners are. You know, if you get four corners in your game sheet, you're a winner. And at one point, there's a medium close up of poor, and as she'll be from this point known, poor old Ingrid Mole. She's trying to explain four corners. It's a pretty tight shot on her. And Simon just starts inserting random body parts into the shot. Like she's talking and like his
Oh, jeez, I need to go back and see that. That's outstanding.
His thumb just appears in the shot, and then like all of a sudden his oversized shoulder pads from his jacket appear in the shot. And Ingrid Mole's trying to be a professional and just ignore it, and then she finally like passive aggressively says to him, "Am I cramping your style, Simon?" Which really translate to you're not the center of attention for 30 seconds, so you have to come over here and ensure that you are, which is kind of what it seemed like to me.
It's just unbelievable what a train wreck the production of the show was. Like they must have had plenty of money. It was run by Lotto. Yep. Like how many times do they fuck up getting the questions and answers wrong? Like they keep giving Michael extra cash because he's like answered them wrong. They're like another $100, and then they have to go back and fix it. At one point, Barnett gets a phone call, apparently from one of the producers to say that Dino had actually got one of the questions right. And it was just after Simon Barnett had also mugged him off for thinking that the answer was the Brady Bunch. You wouldn't see that on that show. So, your producer's called. You're actually right. Yeah, so we owe you another $100. And they get like maybe 5 questions allocated wrong throughout the show.
It's unreal. That Brady Bunch one. He says the Brady Bunch. The question was, which was the first sitcom couple to be featured sharing a double bed, which is like a real common quiz question. And as you said, he got it right. On the screen, the Brady Bunch option is highlighted green. A loud ding sound is made, like a positive ding sound, like you are correct sound, and then determined to demonstrate his competence, as you say, you know, you'd never see that on the Brady Bunch, Dean. Like, it's just...
Maybe he was just like, he thought he knew the answer. It was just his confidence as a quiz man. So he is Simon Blanford.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, wrong. I know this one.
It just reminded me of a condescending George Costanza when the bubble boy on Seinfeld correctly answers the question, who invaded Spain in the 8th century by saying the Moors? But George patronizingly tells him he's wrong because the misprinted question card says the answer is the Moops. Oh, I'm sorry, it was the Moops.
Oh, that's good stuff.
That was Simon Barnett. It's just absolute amateur hour way. But I tell you what isn't amateur hour, Pat, and that's Accountants Plus.
Oh, absolutely. Do tell.
Now, this is a company that knows their stuff. They don't make these silly mistakes. And to add to that, our current sponsor, without our knowledge, we actually decided on this week. And 1 year ago, there is a comment from Jace on this video saying, Michael has no idea. And Jace hit the nail on the head with that, Pat. And he'll hit the nail on your head with your accounts as well. Thanks very much to Accountants Plus.
Good on you, fellas.
Simon Barnett, he just laughs at everything. You know, like inappropriate stuff. He just is constantly laughing. At one point, when Dean with a huge mo, what was that great nickname you gave him, Pat? Sorry.
Dean, no, I had one for Michael, which was Keys.
Keys. Well, Dean with the mo, he's just a picture of determination and just no humour whatsoever. He just laughs at everything, even when it's not appropriate. So when Dean wins, there's a shot of one of the prizes, and one of the prizes is a paid vacation to Western Australia. And Simon says to Dean, "Oh, you'd like the look of that?" And then Dean says very sincerely, "Yes, that'd be lovely." And Simon's like,
that's the class of Simon Barnett just shining through. He's really just keeping the ball rolling, keeping everything, fresh and funny.
It's just he's
He's
just the best.
he's the ultimate '90s host or presenter. Like he's got so much going on. You just got to be trying to come up with one-liners constantly. Doesn't matter if they fail. Laugh at myself and move on.
Yeah,
Seems to
and
be the go.
the best part, apart from just like a snorting Ingrid Mole, like no one reacts at all at any point to any of the jokes, which is one of the best parts of it, I think.
Mm, mm. What
Um,
did you think of the prizes?
oh, what was the car? The Daihatsu?
The Daihatsu Move. You can sleep in it. That was a selling point. It's a hatchback, and the seats fold down. They're like, you can even sleep in it. What?
That Daihatsu move.
I suppose
That
if
was
you're really
something.
down in your luck, maybe might be Michael and Sharon's only go.
That has to be the worst car I've ever seen as a prize in any TV
Yeah,
show.
you'd take the trip to Aussie over that, wouldn't you? The trip to Aussie was the second tier prize.
Yeah, the Daihatsu move was not moving the needle for me. That's for sure. That
No,
was very
no.
very average.
It looked like
Um,
one of those little advertising vehicles, like a
yes,
small business would have, and have an ad on the side.
yeah, the
Like,
replacement car for your panel beaters.
it's probably why they got it as a prize, or would have got it for free. You know, company would have upgraded, and no sane person would buy one of those to drive around themselves.
I've got one other note about Simon, and then we can move on to if we want a premise of the show stuff, or just straight on to Cringe Factor. At 10 minutes 30, Simon, because Ingrid Mole's just been centre stage for a bit, so naturally Simon has to retake centre stage. And he tells this bizarre parachuting joke. Did you see this part about him telling this awful parachuting joke?
Yeah, about and then he's yelling down.
Yeah,
Do you
someone's
know
yelling
anything
up,
about gas barbecues? I was like, I don't even understand what he's trying to
and
get at.
as I said earlier, it's unclear to all except a snorting Ingrid Mole why it's funny. And best part is it cuts to the contestants, and Dean has the most stoic, unimpressed expression. He doesn't even give Simon a courtesy smirk. He's just absolutely locked in.
I think it comes hot off the heels from talking about how our mate Michael slash Keezy uh, had been on a couple of hot air balloons. And
Yes.
Simon Barnett says he's a thrill seeker, our Michael, which is a pretty funny dig, to be honest.
um, General observations. One quick general observation I had was a relatively serious one. It does make you realise like how good a job someone like Bradley Walsh does on the chase.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's funny
Yeah,
when he
you got to
needs to be
appreciate it.
funny. He's serious when he needs to be serious. Like kind of appreciates the mood for each moment.
Mm,
Um, so that was one observation I had for the current day.
yeah. Well, he's a comedian, though, right? Like, he's pretty sharp on his feet.
Yeah, yeah, he's an experienced character.
Mm,
So without further, can we move to Cringe Factor rating?
yeah, yeah. Get out the, what do you call it? The cringe factometer.
And as you said earlier, Pat, what is our scale for the viewers at home?
That would be anywhere from 0 to Michael Barrymore's cover of Coolio, or
Fantastic.
also known as Michael Barrymore and cultural appropriation. Um, that's the
Zero
limit.
to
Yeah, yeah.
Barrymore. Zero to Barrymore. What have you got?
Um, I'm gonna say, if we're going to say that that's a 10, I'd say this would sit around a 7. It's not going to threaten Barrymore's position. He's definitely holding his own there.
Yeah,
I think there was just a little bit of genuine enjoyment watching this going, I think they could redo this. I reckon I'd play along.
yeah, yeah. I
Especially when
agree.
Simon Blandford and Lana Crowcroft dust off the microphones and get out there and present the show.
Lana Cockcroft. Actually, that's a very good shout. I mean, was she Wheel of Fortune? I think Lana wasn't she?
She's originally Wheel of Fortune, then Sports Gaff.
Absolutely. What a superstar. Yeah, so for me, I've gone a little bit higher. I've gone 8 out of 10. 8 out of Barrymore in the Cringe Factor rating. Just because Simon Barnett and Ingrid Mole, it's not clear they even really like each other. Mole's real bitter about him trying to take over her bits. And just I had a little bit lower, but just how terribly done it is, in the sense that, as we talked about, there's about 3 questions that are marked correct when it's wrong, or they get it correct and Simon says they're wrong. It's live TV ain't nothing like it. So that's why I bumped it up to an 8 out of 10. And I just thought, in today it's a 10 out of 10, right? I mean, yes, the game show premise is pretty interesting, and we'd all play along. But if that just randomly came on as a new show now, that's a 10 out of 10 on the Cringe Factor, eh?
Yeah, 100%. It's no knock on the cringiness of the show. It's just how good Barrymore's Coolio was.
Yeah.
So I'm putting 7 as being quite high.
Sure.
It is fantastic. And I don't understand how there was that many fuck ups in just operating the quiz part. You'd think that would be the hardest part of the show. Like, they're live running the numbers to get the tickets all across New Zealand to tell you how many tickets have won at each level.
Yeah.
And they can't run a quiz.
And they can't run a basic quiz. Absolutely. So Pat's given a 7. I've given an 8. Let us know what you thought at home. Give us a YouTube comment. WIWT90s. Get on the Instagram. Your Facebooks. And let us know what you think about that one. Episode 2 of Cringe Factor. We'll be coming out with you a few more. My Wife Suggests, Romeo and Juliet, Your Cluelesses. One of those ones will be coming into your ears very shortly. Anything you want to add before we sign off, Pat?
I actually just caught one last question that I'm going to ask you about this before we sign off.
Fantastic.
Who do you reckon was the worst contestant from, like, the actual game show perspective? Michael or Sharon? Sharon for just answering no questions, or Michael for thinking he could answer 1,000 of them and getting them all wrong? What's the best tactic?
The best tactic is Michael's.
Yeah.
Because at least you're giving yourself a chance, and that's why they should have been given more of a consequence for, like, they should get 50 points for a right answer, 100 for a wrong one.
Yeah, you are also live on national TV, though. Just in case I end up on a game show, because I don't know anything about anything. I'll take your advice and I'll buzz away.
Yeah, I'd rather be Michael. Sharon, you show up on national TV once in your life and you answer one question. It's just not. It's not good enough.
True. You got to take the opportunities. You got to take your day in the sun.
Michael can laugh about it at least. Sharon can only look back at that day with deep, deep regrets.
Oh, well, yeah. Go check it out. There's got to be a few more episodes scratching around there somewhere, but I'm stoked to find out that Dean actually uploaded that as well. That's real top stuff.
Yeah, and there's plenty up there, all downloaded by Dean. He's a master quizzer with a master personality. And on that note, thanks very much, everybody.
Ka kite.